which is over a mile down the road. She texts John as she leaves.
And it was, I can't wait to come home. I can't wait to see you. I'm so angry at everybody down here. I said, I think that you should have a good time. Just try to relax. It's your last night. Try to enjoy it. You're down there anyways. You might as well try to enjoy it before you come home and get back to school.
Brittanee and John text each other as she leaves the Blue Water Resort. But then, something strange happens. She stops responding to his messages.
I knew that something was up about 10 to 20 minutes later, but a half an hour later was when I really began to start freaking out. Me and Brittanee talked every 10 minutes on the phone. I knew something was wrong. I knew that there was a problem of 30 minutes going by without talking to her.
An hour later, John is worried. He threatens to tell her mom the truth about where Brittanee really is if she doesn't text him back.
I called Brittanee, and there was no response. So I texted her, and I said, if she didn't get in contact with me, I was gonna call her mom. And I was gonna break the news to the family that she was down in South Carolina. A couple minutes went by, she didn't text me back, didn't call me back.
Meanwhile, Dawn Drexel, Brittanee's mother, is just returning home after having dinner with a few friends when she gets the call from John.
Her mom said, I'm gonna kill her. Like, there's no way that she went behind my back and did this without letting me know about it. And she was initially very angry, as any parent would be if they found out their kid was 14 hours away.
It wasn't registering until it started to sink in and I was thinking about it. Well, my heart dropped. I mean, what do you mean you can't find my daughter? And I started freaking out.
As soon as Dawn gets off the phone with John, she desperately tries to get in touch with Brittanee.
When we were first texting her and calling her that night that she went missing, it would keep ringing and ringing and ringing, and then it started just to go to voicemail.
When I finished up work, it was 11 o'clock at night, and I got in my car, and I headed right to Brittanee's house. And I walked in the door, and the whole family was sitting at the table, and I sat down and started to explain what happened.
Dawn calls the Rochester police, but they can't do much from upstate New York. So John reaches out to a friend of Brittanee's in North Carolina, who drives straight to Myrtle Beach to file a missing persons report with local police. Meanwhile, Brittanee's family and friends continue trying to reach her by phone, but each call goes straight to voicemail. The next morning, Brittanee's mom, boyfriend, grandparents, and 2 friends head down to Myrtle Beach to search for Brittanee, while her father, Chad, looks after her siblings.
Here I am driving down to Myrtle Beach, and I am just beside myself, thinking, how could this happen to my daughter? Where is she? Am I going to be able to find her?
Coming up, investigators get a break when they discover surveillance footage that could help them find the missing teen. "17-year-old Brittanee Drexel has slipped off to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for spring break, unbeknownst to her parents. At about 9 p.m., Saturday, April 25th, she's walking to her hotel while texting her boyfriend John, when suddenly her texts stop. Brittanee is not seen or heard from again. Myrtle Beach Police Lieutenant Joseph Kapp and Detective Vincent Dorio head the investigation. As police begin the search for Brittanee, her mother, her boyfriend John, her grandparents, and 2 friends are still en route from Rochester, New York to Myrtle Beach.
Trip down to South Carolina, I don't think anybody slept. It was extremely difficult because we knew that we're going down there to search for Brittanee missing. almost was a step out of reality. It was almost like this couldn't be happening.
Brittanee has been missing about 12 hours. Myrtle Beach police launch an intensive search, fanning out in all directions from the hotel where Brittanee was last seen. They canvass beaches and local hotels, looking for possible leads. Police find the friends with whom Brittanee traveled from Rochester. They tell detectives they haven't been able to reach her since she disappeared and have no idea where she could be. When Brittanee's mother meets with Myrtle Beach investigators, they ask her about Brittanee's home life.
They thought she ran away. And I know my daughter didn't run away. I mean, she was going to be 18. She felt like she was a grown-up. She was also looking at colleges and things like that.
No indication that she did a lot of drinking or anything of that nature while she was here.
Her brother and sister, she loves to death, and she would never leave them. Never up and leave them, willingly.
The morning after Brittanee's last contact with her boyfriend, John, Myrtle Beach police are still hopeful this case will resolve quickly, like so many other spring break missing persons cases.
Especially with kids, is they'll go and sit on the beach and talk. They lose track of time is generally what happens.
Detective Dorio and Lieutenant Cap begin to work a lead. They learn that Peter Brozowitz, the young man Brittanee went to see the night before, left town with his buddies at about 2 a.m. that morning, about 5 hours after Brittanee vanished.
It appeared that they had left suddenly in the night. They had forgotten clothing and they didn't get a deposit. And I mean, these contributing factors appeared to be very, very suspicious.
As soon as Peter arrives back in Rochester, he is quick to acquire the representation of a criminal defense attorney. Investigators begin piecing together Brittanee's last hours. On the way from her hotel to visit Peter and his friends at the Blue Water Resort, a traffic camera captures her walking and texting at about 8:15 p.m.
We do see her, she's walking alone and using her phone. And we verify that she was calling the people that she was going to visit to try and find the location of the motel.
According to Peter, Brittanee left his room shortly after she arrived to go back to her hotel and return the pair of shorts to her friend. Detective Dorio checks the surveillance tapes of the Blue Water Resort. They verify Peter's story.
We get her going through the motel's front lobby doors, and then a short time later, exiting the motel and going northbound towards her motel.
Detective Dorio can now pinpoint the time Brittanee left the Blue Water Resort, 8:48 p.m. Police estimate it should have taken Brittanee about 15 minutes to reach the traffic camera on the return trip to her hotel.
Reviewing the tape on the traffic camera, we learned that Brittanee never made it that far.
Somewhere between the Blue Water Resort and her own hotel, Brittanee vanishes. Police continue to question Peter, the last known person to see Brittanee Drexel. They're curious about his departure in the middle of the night, shortly after Brittanee disappeared.
Peter totally cooperated with us. I mean, yes, he got an attorney, but he and his attorney were straightforward.
Peter tells them one of his friends was pressured by his mother to return to Rochester as soon as possible.
We followed up on all the information, what they told us they had done.
After investigating Peter's story, police find no evidence that he and his friends had anything to do with Brittanee's disappearance. Unfortunately, investigators have no other leads on what may have happened to her, but they do obtain Brittanee's cell phone records. What they find is not what they expect. The last known location of her cell phone is over an hour away in a very unwelcoming area. Coming up, is Brittanee still alive?
It's the most horrific thing you would want to go through as a parent.
Get more Disappeared online at investigation.discovery.com. While Myrtle Beach police search the city for 17-year-old Brittanee Drexel, Detective Vincent Dorio is investigating the last minutes before she disappears. On April 25th, 2009, what should have been the last night of her vacation, Brittanee vanishes after visiting her friend Peter at the Blue Water Resort.
She was still in Myrtle Beach.
Graham Moore, a local reporter, has been tracking Brittanee's case since her disappearance.
They were in the hotel room. I don't think she was there that long. She got a call from her friend saying, hey, can you bring me back my shorts? She left there, from what I understand. She was texting with her boyfriend.
The Blue Water's surveillance tapes show Brittanee leaving at 8:48 p.m. But Brittanee never appears on footage from a traffic camera along the way, returning to her hotel. Now, with her cell phone records in hand, detectives hope to learn what happened during those crucial few minutes.
At 8:58, she writes back to John, no, I'm staying in, packing, going to sleep probably. At that point, John asks, why babe, why boo?
According to Brittanee's cell phone records, this exchange with John, her boyfriend back in Rochester, occurs 10 minutes after she leaves the Blue Water Resort. She is supposed to be walking back to her hotel, just over a mile away. But the records show that suddenly, all outbound activity from Brittanee's phone stops after this text.
About 9:15, he starts writing back again, hey, why aren't you answering me? I'm concerned. At that point, that's when he starts text messaging her over and over. Where are you? You okay?
John texts some of the friends who traveled with Brittanee to see if they can reach her, giving investigators their next lead.
And they start making calls, and that's how we're able to start tracking her as the phone is going southbound.
Anytime one of her friends called Brittanee, her cell phone would ping or communicate with the nearest cell phone tower. This tells investigators the approximate location of Brittanee's phone at that moment. Although she is supposed to be heading north towards her hotel, at 9:27 p.m., about 30 minutes after her last text, the data reveals that Brittanee's phone is heading southbound on Route 17. Her phone is pinging cell towers in an area called Surfside Beach, almost 7 miles south of Myrtle Beach. It would take 2 hours to walk there and about 15 minutes by car.
The phone itself, because we're not sure if she was separated from the phone, was moving at a high enough rate of speed that it was in a vehicle.
Police aren't sure if the cell phone battery then dies or if it gets destroyed. But at 11:58 p.m., just 3 hours after Brittanee's last text to John, her phone last pings tower number 332. It's located 2 counties and over 50 miles south of Myrtle Beach, near Georgetown County.
If you look at the timeline of the cell phone, made this 50-mile trek in a relatively short period of time. So it wasn't like it meandered down through the night. That cell phone made a beeline for Georgetown County.
The area is near the North Santee River, around the Pole Yard boat landing. It's an isolated, rural spot.
This right here is off the beaten path. There's nothing but country surrounding this area. The folks that would know it are fishermen or some of the locals from the town of Georgetown, maybe just across the river.
A 17-year-old from Rochester, New York is not going to end up at Pole Yard boat landing on a Saturday night during her spring break.